Okay, good morning. This is day 43 of little videos to describe a day or thoughts in the life of me as a schizophrenic with human with schizophrenia. It's basically to express some sane thoughts that I have on a daily basis, to express some sort of sanity amidst an event of the world going crazy and turning it around on me and saying that I'm crazy. I do a little intro here so you can skip 2.5 minutes. But I basically tell people that I am writing a book. It's on medium.com. It is about unveiling the schizophrenic tradition is the title. And I came to the realization while writing my book that if I describe myself to others, I'd be an itty bitty writer with experience in schizophrenia. Is reality to be experienced, and much of the experience can be attributed to coming into contact with systems and operations which are modern or advanced technology. And I am a one-time activist. I am now a brain damaged author of a book on political surveillance, technology in society, and psychological operations. I also discuss in that book thoughts, processes that I have that are possibly reasons for getting targeted. And this targeting is referred to as the targeted individual program in other areas of society. I like to use the phrase schizophrenia. In day 17 of these little videos, I describe exactly why I choose schizophrenia. One of the reasons is because my brain has been rearranged after the warfare that I've received into schizophrenic functioning. I am actually the recipient of organized political warfare, what NATO calls cognitive war, and what the chief of Indian intelligence describes as neurostrike weaponry. And this chief of Indian intelligence refers to a terminology that is also referred to as neurostrike by the Chinese. And this has given me a condition characteristic of schizophrenia, but is more of an experience of coming into contact with the classified section of democracy or underworld section of reality, including potentially global governance, which could be fascist, it could be corporations intertwined into the government, military contractors, things like that. And yeah, so that will be what my intro for today. Okay, so I was going to get into talking points today. I was reading in my book uh, about baseball parks, taking road trips around the baseball parks. It focuses on the Red Sox in the beginning. I'm still reading about that, and I've learned that the Red Sox were originally called the Americans, but way back when Cy Young used to pitch for them and stuff at the turn of the century and early on in the 20th century. So I thought that was kind of interesting, that Boston would be called the Americans. And so, yeah, I found that interesting. All right, so I'm going to get into something else here. Dr. Stephen Greer, I'm on his newsletter because I'm interested in that kind of stuff like UFOs and disclosure, alien disclosure, and stuff like that. I don't actually know if it's real or anything like that, but I tend to think it is. The more information I read about it, and the more I learn about the way that society keeps secrets, and it just seems more and more plausible to me. And I actually get sent little coded messages throughout history and stuff that indicate to me like, oh, I think there is something to this, and it's like a little coded reference. And I definitely think you just look at the sky and you just look at all the stars in the sky and you're like, okay, aliens are out there, and then you see the UFOs flying around on camera, going into the water, and you just see all these eyewitness accounts and everything, and there's something going on. And why haven't we why haven't we expanded upon rockets after almost 100 years? I think we've been working on rockets since the 50s or something like that. Or, the Germans were working on rockets in World War II, and it's now almost 2030, and you're telling me we didn't expand upon that technology? That's not really believable. So, yeah, seems to me that everyone sees these spaceships coming in and out of the sky, going to and from, and why they're called UFOs and not spaceships because they head off into space, I don't know. That's kind of weird. I think it's a way to hide or create a ideation or intellectual narrative about them. Like, they're UFOs. We don't know what they are. Not like they're spaceships. Okay. Uh, I know that there's people that say that the UFOs are potentially multi-dimensional aircraft or something. I don't know. But we see them leave the atmosphere and go off into space or whatever. Okay, so Stephen Greer put out a paper in 1999 that said that controlled disclosure could feed secrecy, a secrecy type of disclosure. Like, there could be two types of disclosure. There could be the open, honest disclosure where everybody around the world learns about UFOs and the alien disclosure, and it's open to the public and it's democratic and it feeds a democratic process or whatever. And there could be controlled UFO where they're holding out the UFO as a threat, and there's controlled disclosure where the UFO is considered a threat. Aliens are considered a threatening thing and stuff, and we have to do a military build up and keep secrecy, and it feeds the secrecy. And he seems to think that's what's going on right now. And yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth on it because it's like, on the one hand, if you do have aliens coming down to Earth, if they've been coming down for thousands of years and they haven't posed a real threat to us yet, uh, seems like maybe you could have some sort of open disclosure or whatever. But then you have to ask yourself, like, well, what was going on in World War II and stuff? Like, where did aliens come into play? And so I understand, like, the idea of, like, potentially, like, secrecy to a point. I understand some idea that there could possibly be a need for some secrecy, uh, because you don't know who's coming and going and what information they're passing on to humanity and what sectors of humanity they're passing it on to. Like, the Nazis supposedly learned about UFO technology through aliens. I don't know if that's real. I don't know if that's true, but it's like I could see like a suspicion on the part of certain sectors of humanity towards the alien UFO contact. Now, Stephen Greer seems to think that he seems to indicate that uh, UFO. What if I understand this? That all these alien abductions and stuff are going on are black ops programs to paint the aliens as aggressors, and he thinks it's like an eschatological thing where it's like people are have these bizarre religious beliefs about the end of the world, the end of times, and Armageddon and stuff, and that they are uh, pushing the world towards extinction, like on an environmental front, and disregarding the way that UFOs could open up the floodgates of like creating uh, a new type of Earth and new technologies and a new political order. And they want to keep their power in the military industrial complex and the petrodollar and stuff like that. And they have these beliefs. They have like the bizarre belief in the end of times. He questions that belief if it is really a belief at all. And he thinks these people kind of run the UFO uh, world, the UFO media streams and stuff like that. So they're trying to paint the UFOs as a threat and everything. And I think it's kind of interesting. I kind of see it kind of happening. and so. But at the same time, I always wonder, like, are these people's beliefs, uh, are they self-fulfilling prophecies on the one hand, and is it because they've time traveled and they've seen the end or something, And anyways, Stephen Greer says that if you notice that you'll see all these media streams on UFOs and stuff, and they talk about the good ETs versus the bad ETs, and he says it's kind of steeped in a little bit of like a human racism, a little bit. It's like the good ETs are the Pleiadians, tall, white, Nordic, blonde people, and the bad ETs are the ugly green, but this interspecies now. The racism is interspecies or whatever. And they say, I'm not saying they're ugly. I'm just saying, you know, that's how they look at them. They're different. They're different species. They look weird. The odd shaped to our human eyes. And so, uh, I'm not saying that the aliens are odd or anything like that. But he's saying that there's just like a notion that the good ones are the tall blondes and the bad ones are the other ones. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, in any event, you have to understand, like, the way we exist on Earth. When we saw something that was different than us, we acted kind of predacious towards that thing, towards that life force, and you just see the way humans do. So we automatically think, like, if somebody sees us, maybe they might think of us as like the weird looking people, and they're gonna want to dominate us or something. Or so, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna get into Katie Ledecky now, and we're gonna segue from the alien talk and the Stephen Greer talk. And Katie Ledecky's favorite show, she likes drama and she likes comedy, and her favorite drama show is Blue Bloods, which my dad also really likes, and she likes Curb Your Enthusiasm, which I definitely like. And I was reading in there, she thinks that the Olympics should be like a sports festival, an international sports festival for fun, and we should look at it that way instead of one swimming coach from around the world one time characterized it as a war between countries. The Olympics were she didn't buy into that, and so I thought that was kind of interesting. And so, yeah, yeah. So I was reading that, and I thought that was kind of interesting. And so, I like to think of the Olympics as a festival between countries as well. I know America wins a lot, but even when they don't win, and what I remember as a kid, a lot of times they used to go around to all the different countries and focus on like the people and the towns they were from and stuff like that. And they don't do that kind of thing anymore. It's like all based on like America this, America that. And I enjoy learning about the American athletes, but I like learning about the athletes from all around the world. That's kind of what the Olympics is about, bringing us together, bridging divides, and getting us closer into countries around the world and valuing athletic accomplishments from around the world. And I like that. Okay, so I learned that Katie Ledecky's godfather, one of her godfathers, was her Uncle John, and her other godfather was a Jesuit priest by the name of Jim Shea. And I thought that was interesting because growing up, my parents had connections to like the Jesuits and their schooling and upbringing and stuff. And I guess I read frequently from like Jesuit literature when I was learning and stuff. And uh, I think I kind of like the Jesuit thought processes and ideas. And I was interested in Jesuit colleges and stuff like that. And I'm not now Christian. I'd probably, if I was any type of Christian now, I'd probably be Gnostic, but I still am Catholic in my culture, kind of. You know, uh, I can't really deny that it instilled some sort of value system in me. So, all right. But I guess I'm gonna stop here, not to bring up religion and then bail out. Okay, bye.